Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we have the return of the long lost son, our prodigal reviewer. He's come home. Look what they did to my boy.
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
As you can tell, we watched The Godfather. This is a first time viewing for me. I believe it's a first time viewing for Zach, and it is a at least second time viewing for Payson.
Yeah, second time. Second time I've
Second
seen
time viewing for Payson. This movie barely needs an introduction. You know the name. If you haven't, you probably love the movie. If you haven't seen it, you at least know the name and you at least know it's about mobs because it's left an indelible mark on pop culture. Many lists tout it as one of the best films in the last century, if not the best film in the last century. Maybe it's because of my exhaustion. Maybe it's because I had to watch it in 2 sittings. I wasn't starstruck by it. I found absolutely nothing wrong with it. It was phenomenal. The acting was great. The acting was great. It was a great story. It doesn't really have a quote unquote plot with the classic sense of something is set up, some conflict, some resolution, something like that. But it's a good story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I'd have to give it it's hard to review this movie because there's other movies that I enjoy more than this movie. This movie was long. This movie wasn't all that exciting for the majority of the movie. But man, was it a well-made, well-written, well-acted movie. So overall, it's hard to make a movie better than this movie. So you have to give it a 9 or a 10, because even if it's not the most stunning or exciting or heart-pounding movies, it's near impossible to make a movie better.
All right. Well, with that being said, to burst your bubble, apparently they did make a better movie with the second Godfather.
Listen, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it, but all I know is apparently this movie sets up for the second one, and it's far better than the first. I haven't seen it yet. I want to watch it, but I do have to agree with you. This movie was a lot slower. There were some times that I wish they had more subtitles so that I could understand a little bit more of what they were saying.
They would go, they would just like pick and choose which Italian they wanted to translate.
Yeah, I was a little
At least in the
disappointed
version
with
I was
that.
watching.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, so I don't know if they have different versions out there. That was really the only problem I had with the movie, all in all. Other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. It was slow at some points, but I'm excited to see the second one whenever I do get around to watch that. And I wasn't expecting it to be a 2.5 hour movie for how old it is.
250.
250, 3 hour movie. I take it back. I wasn't expecting that.
The second one's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, no, I'm preparing myself for that one. I didn't give myself enough time tonight to watch it. So
who directed this?
I have no idea.
Shoot, I don't know.
I wonder if this man had any beef with Peter Jackson. Francis Ford Coppola. They were just having a pissing contest about who can make the longest movie.
I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10, only because I wanted to understand more of what they were saying. I think everything else was great. If anything, I'll give it an 8.5. But from what I do know, I don't want to give it too high because I hear the second one's better than the first. So I want to leave room in
I can't see how they I can't wait to see how they continue the pattern with 3.
Three's
from
bad.
What I know is
from what I've heard, 3 is horrible.
I hear it should not.
Hence the sarcasm.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying. For what I do know, it's really, really bad. It kind of gets overlooked in the Godfather trilogy, but I hear the second movie fixes a lot of the problems with the first movie. It's a lot more direct and aggressive from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see what they have. I'm sure the cinematography and everything is spot on, just like the first one. So I'm excited to see it.
Basically, what you guys have both said. It's a well-made film, good cinematography, great music. phenomenal acting. Can't really complain about much of anything. The only thing I could complain about besides the subtitles things that you mentioned, I did find that kind of annoying, but you can still kind of guess what they're saying by the body language that's going on throughout the scene, which they did phenomenally, by the way. The only thing I would complain about is the one fight scene, or essentially the beating up scene of Sonny and Carlo. There are times in it that you can see him completely miss. No connection is made, and it is the funniest thing ever.
Hey, look,
So
stage acting
Listen.
was
This was the same era of the Batman boom pow.
I know, but at least
So-
they put the boom and the pow over the punches.
hey, look, they tried to block it out when he picked up that trash can.
Yeah,
we've come a long way in stunt science.
I know, but
Stage
at
combat.
least
Yep.
yeah, but it's just something that you really can't unsee after seeing it.
I mean, that's the only, I think, visual problem I think the
Yeah.
movie has.
That's one of the that's one of the only if that's one of the few, if not the only visual problem you can get out of this movie. All the rest of it is phenomenally well done.
Man, I think one thing that we didn't get to see the wife like at all.
Which one?
The first one,
The one
Michael's
that died?
Apollina.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that died.
Yeah.
I wanted a I've returned. This is my wife scene.
Yeah, I was hoping for that as well, like a lover's quarrel, and
It's like, welcome
get it.
back. It's been a year. It's been so long.
I've been waiting
How have
for
you been? I got married.
I don't know, maybe he thought like he was gonna stay there forever to some
Well,
extent.
I was about to say maybe it was get rid of her so that he has a reason to go back, which I can
Possibly.
understand. But still, it was kind
I
of
don't think-
odd to just have that in the first place. Then, in
I
my
don't-
opinion.
Yeah, they never really explain who blew up the car for that. Like they explained who
hint at
blew
it.
up the car, but they didn't like explain who he got paid off for to do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
and I don't think it
honestly,
ever really gets explained.
that whole section, in my opinion, a little bit irrelevant to the whole
Yeah.
plot of the movie.
This is my second time watching The Godfather, so I do know a little bit. I haven't seen it a second time. I kind of am viewing it in somewhat a different light than when I saw it in the first film, but I still like it, still enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. The second film is just at, I think is around as good as the first film, maybe a little bit better. Not as good. It's not like the same way that Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick were, but it's still like
Mhm.
better. I think in some ways it's better than the first one. Yeah, definitely a good watch.
A must watch.
Yeah.
If you're a cinematography person.
If you like,
I don't
essentially,
know.
if you like
Cinephile?
movies,
Yeah, thanks.
if you like movies, this is definitely a movie you need to watch at some point in your life.
Yes, agreed. Now I have an understanding as why they call me the Godfather at work, but at the same time, I don't.
This is a movie that crosses over the film bros and the cinephiles, which is not a large list.
One thing I will disagree with you, Andrew, is that this kind of does have a plot, but it's
I
more
mean,
so
it-
a tragic tale of a guy who wasn't supposed to be involved with his family getting involved with his family.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if anything, it has a very minimal underlying
Like
plot.
there is a
But,
problem.
yeah, I can see it
there
as a
is a
tragic
solution,
tale.
and then the ramifications of that solution throughout rippling throughout the whole family and essentially the film in and of itself.
Okay.
I can see how you can. Yeah, it makes more sense if you look at it as like a tragic tale.
Because I
for
mean,
the character.
even Don Corleone, the original Godfather, he even says like he didn't even want this for him. He was supposed to be the kid who went to be a governor or
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like became something better than what they were. Wasn't stuck in the same patterns that he was in.
And the second movie completely undermines that.
Not quite. It just shows how much further he gets down the road.
Of the
From what
Godfather.
I could tell, the second one is like paralleling their
Yeah.
their rise.
And I mean, he's kind of got the same. Yeah. And the second one, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's essentially got a similar feel. Like that wasn't the life that the original Godfather was supposed to go live on. When he ends up coming to America, that's not the life he was supposed to live. However, just situational occurrences and the way that stuff just happened ended up making him the Godfather that we know in this film.
Mm,
Kind of like the same way that it is with Michael. Yeah, it's not a triumphant story, it's a tragedy.
Okay. I just
Right.
had a hard time pinpointing the points of the classical plot
yeah.
outline.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely got that plot somewhat outlined, but it's done in a different way, and that makes it interesting and kind of hard to catch.
I would say
At least the first watch, it's kind of hard to catch.
I would still say then if it's done in a different way, then it still doesn't follow the classical
It's done in
plot
a more,
outline.
Well,
yeah. It still does the classic plot outline where there's a problem, solution, ramifications of solution. I mean, what is the classic plot outline for you?
It looks like a mountain. Exposition, rising movement, or rising action, climax, falling action, and the denouement or the resolution. It literally just does this. It's like intro,
and which I understand.
conflict or problem arises.
Yeah,
They
he
go
gets
through
shot.
obstacles to fix the problem.
The whole
Climax
family kind of
happens,
goes
like
through everything.
the boss battle, and then we kind of get the calming down, and then the finalization, the end credits resolution.
Yeah. Okay. Father gets shot. You end up finding out who's like doing all this stuff. It goes up
Mhm.
to the final boss, which is Marzini or Manzini,
Mhm.
I believe is his name. And then you just see the rippling effects come down throughout.
I will say it's less of a mountain and more of a hill.
Yeah. It's definitely got ups and downs,
not
like multiple ups
yeah.
and downs throughout the film.
Yeah, it's not really a huge controversy, I suppose you could say. They kind of
Yeah.
break it up and undermine some of it and then solve the problems rather quickly.
Yeah, like I mean, just we didn't get the shooting until like 40 minutes
Last
in.
10 minutes.
Yeah, but that was also
well.
kind of set up for you knowing everything that was going to go down.
Yeah.
As well. So
I mean, let's be honest. They had a lot of work with 3-hour movie. So, you know.
But I mean, I'd still like I find it hard to pinpoint like if I've had to fill out plot diagrams in a handful of my classes. Only one or two of my classes, and I would find a hard time like pinpointing like what the different points on that graph would be for this movie. Like the conflict definitely is the shooting, but like not the conflict, like the issue is definitely the shooting of the Dawn. But like what is the problem that needs to be solved? It's just kind of like interfamilial gang conflict.
that kind of is a problem in and of itself.
Yeah, but I also see like I'm trying to think of
Am I thinking of something different?
Find the point of where they have character growth. Or Michael, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And
Michael. Yeah.
in all honesty, I don't think he really does have much character growth.
No, it's more of a character fall. That's what I said. It's a tragedy. He ends up becoming instead of like
100%.
this. That's what I'm saying. It's more of a tragedy. He ends up becoming like this upstanding citizen war hero kind of guy to go on to be this sort of.
I see this movie being more of a cinematic masterpiece than having a I don't want to say than having a good plot. It does have a good plot.
I'm thinking of the hero's journey. I'm thinking of the hero's journey is what I'm thinking of.
This has more of a hero's fall.
The hero's journey is a very specific 3-act. If you want to know hero's journey, think the Hercules movie.
Or Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. It's 3 acts. It's call to adventure, spiritual aid. You get to a threshold, which is the 2nd act. Ordinary world, call to adventure, refusal, meeting the mentor, and you cross the threshold into the 2nd act, which is the special world. And so it's tests, allies, enemies, approaching the innermost cave, ordeal, reward at the end of the special world in Act 2, and then the road back takes you into Act 3. So you get the resurrection and return with the elixir is the 3-act hero's journey.
Sounds like
and for some
episode
reason
4.
I had that in my head. I was mixing the plot diagram and hero's journey.
Sounds exactly like A New Hope.
It's an epic quest. I don't think this doesn't fit the hero's journey. This fits a classical plot line. I was confusing and merging the two.
No, you're fine. You're fine. At least you figured it out in the end.
Listen, I'm
But
tired. I'm
if you
exhausted.
haven't seen this movie yet, I really do recommend watching it. At least the first two. You can just ignore the third one from what I've heard.
The third one got messed up essentially because one of the actors wasn't paid enough to come back, and so they had to change everything about the plot. That's why it sucks.
Who?
Almost
Out of
rapidly. The
curiosity.
guy who played Tom
who?
Hagen.
Oh, okay. That's who I thought it would have been.
I can see why this movie kind of like ignited a mob craze, but also the entire movie I was watching, I was like, this stuff could not happen nowadays.
Well, no, that's why it was made back then, not now.
Like, you can't just shoot a guy in the street and get in a car and be like, you're good.
I mean, you
What are
can in
talking about
Detroit.
that? I did that this morning.
Why do I try?
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for sticking through whatever debacle we call this show anymore. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Continue to support, watch, and join us next week as we watch the movie Snatch. Goodbye, farewell, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the other side. I'm done.
Other side of what?